Moving ahead, in the lecture series on retail analytics, we will now be seeing RFM analysis. R in RFM stands for recency, that is how recently the purchase is made by the customer at the store concerned. Then F stands for frequency, how frequently the customer buys from the store concerned. And M stands for monetary value, whenever the customer purchases from the store, what is the monetary value involved. So this RFM analysis is very important for customer segmentation, and based on the segmentation of the customer based on recency, frequency, and monetary value, the customers can be chosen, and the strategy corresponding to recency, corresponding to frequency, and corresponding to monetary value can be applied to derive significant benefit from the strategies. So we will try to understand RFM analysis by means of the example. That example contain the data of the transactions, right? So I'll be showing you the Excel sheet which has the details of the transaction history. In that Excel sheet, there is a lot of information. Not all the information is needed for carrying out RFM analysis, but still, for you to know what is the information to be there in recording the transaction, though not every information is needed for carrying out RFM analysis, but still, for you to know what is to be collected, I will be reading out the information, that is row ID, that is unique ID, order ID. Order ID means it will be the ID, like here CA2016152156, and here also CA2016152156. Both the records have same order ID, so that will be concerning with one customer and different items. Then you have order date, ship mode, customer ID, customer name, segment, country, city, state, postal code for communicating with the customers. Then region, product. These are the details of the product, product ID, category, subcategory, product name. Then the sales value, right? Sales value, then quantity, then discount, then profit. From here onwards, something which relates to RF, which is required for RFM analysis, we will be seeing. This is the date on which this transaction is recorded or purchase is made. Then this is the information, or these are the intermediate columns which have been created in Excel, not directly related to the date of transaction, but for converting the date of transaction to an analyzable form, right? So this is not much important, but still little I'll be talking about it. This date could not be used in the formula of the Excel, because it is not in the format in which Excel formula needed. So what is done? This date is converted to the text format, in which date is written first, and then month, and then year. And then this text format is split into date, month, and year. And again, all these three information data, about date, month, and year, are combined or sent as a parameter to the function called as date to regenerate the date in proper format. The proper format which is required by the formula is um, uh, should have uh, month, then date, and then year, MMDDYYYY. Whereas the date which we were having was in the format DDMMYYYY. So for converting this format date to the date which is required to be passed on to the functions in the Excel, that requires the date in format MMDDYYYY. That's why we were required to convert this date to the text format, and then this text split into three details: date, month, and by year, right? Those three arguments are passed to the date function to get us the date in proper format. Now all the dates in all the records are converted to proper format date from this date format for finding how early how earlier with reference to a reference date the transaction was done. So for that, what we have done in this column, we have found out the maximum date. Okay, we will be considering that as the reference date. It is not mandatory to consider maximum date from this column as a reference date. Instead, what we may do is we will be considering some date which is more than, which is greater than the maximum date in this column, right? So what we have done, let me show you. We have found out the maximum date from this column. This column is referred by AA colon AA. So we are passing maximum AA colon AA, right? So that gives us the maximum date from AA column, right? So that is 31st December 2021. So we are considering this as a reference date to find out how recently the purchase was made. Okay, lesser the number of days from the reference date, the recency is more, and greater the number of days from the reference date, the purchase was made much earlier. All right. So here we find the difference between, or the number of days between this reference date and the date concerned, that is here 8th of November 2021, right? There are 53 days in between 31st December 2021 and 8th November 2021, 53 days. Likewise, in between 31st December 2021 to 12th of June 2021, there are 202 days. So we get the number of days from the reference date for each of the transaction. So this column, AB column, contains the number of days which has passed after the purchase was made, right? The number of days, once again, I say you were counted from 31st December 2021. Now, from this column, what we do, we find out the minimum number of days which has passed over the concerned purchase and the maximum number of days from this column. Okay, so minimum is 0 and maximum is 363. So what we do now with this minimum and maximum number of days, we divide this period from 0 to 363, that is the period of 363 days, in 10 zones. Okay, because we want to find out the recency index, right? So if I divide the zone between, range between 0 to 363 to 10 zones, so each zone is going to be up 36.3 days. Okay, so first zone is going to be 0 to 36.3, then second zone is going to be 36.4 to 72.6, right? And then the third zone is going to be 72.7 to 108.9, and so on. So all in all, what we are interested in is converting this number of days to recency index. Okay, how do we do that? In another way, we divide each of the value in this column by 36.3, and we subtract the quotient, integerized quotient, from 10. Why do we do like that? Because if the purchase is means if the purchase is meant done recently, we want to give it the index closer to 10, and if the sufficient time has passed over the purchase, we want to give it the lesser index closer to 1. For example, here if this purchase corresponding to this record is has completed 349 days from the reference day, so it is quite older purchase, so it has to get the lesser index is coming 1 here. Okay, I'll be talking about how that value is coming 1, right? So what we do, we divide this value or this value, any value in this column, by 36.3. Why 36.3? Because this range between 0 to 363 we want to divide into 10 zones, so we divide the difference between 363 minus 0 by 10, and that comes equal to 36.3. So what do? We divide this 34.9 by 349 by 36.3. We get value something close to 9, and we subtract this value from 10. We get 1. For example, here 53 divided by 36.3, that value will be coming closer to 1. because we have to integerize the quotient. So 53 divided by 36.3 will be 1 point something. We'll be truncating the fractional part, so we get the integer quotient, and we subtract this integer quotient from 10. So 10 minus 1 gets you 9. So we get the recency index for all the number of days in column AB, right? Once again, to make you understand it better, 197 number of days for this transaction. So 197, we will be dividing it again by 36.3. That gets you something like 5 point something, and we subtract. We subtract, or we integerize this to 5, right? And then we will be subtracting this 5 from 10 to get 5. Okay, so I hope you have understood how the recency index is found out, right? So higher the value of recency index, more recently the purchase was made, and lower the value, the purchase is older. Okay, and the philosophy to consider the recency index is, those who have purchased recently have the tendency, or they can be driven again to the store to make the next purchase. Okay, the older buyers, the buyers who has purchased the thing earlier, it will take a little more effort to make them buy. Okay, so that is the advantage of recency. So we can take the advantage of recency to do the to influence their buying behavior. We'll be seeing how we will be influencing their buying behavior in the next Excel sheet. Okay, now before that, how we will be using frequency? How do we get the frequency, right? So what we do, we count the number of entries for the particular customer in this table. This we do in Excel by using COUNTIF function, right? So we get the frequency, that is the number of times a particular customer has appeared in the transaction list. Okay, so for example, this customer, Clary Good, appears twice. So here you get the frequency of the purchase as 2, and some other person like Ted Butterfield is appearing 13 times in this column. So the frequency of purchase for Ted Butterfield, you will be seeing 13, right? So that is how we will be getting frequency. You can find out the frequency for frequency of purchase for various customers, even by using little sophisticated way. I have used very simple way, that is to count the number of entries for a particular customer. Okay, we can also do this in a transaction or order ID way, right? So again, you are finding here that the frequency is ranging from 1 to 21. How do I get that? By finding the minimum value in the frequency column and the maximum value. So minimum is coming out to be 1 and maximum is coming out to be 21. So the range is from 1 to 21. The length of range is 20. 21 minus 1. Now this length 20 will be dividing into 10 equal parts. So each part is going to be of 2, right? So to indexify the frequency, uh, what we will be doing, each number here in the column of frequency, we will be dividing by 2, right? For example, if I do divide 2 by 2, the frequency index I get 1, and 11 by 2, for example, here, if I divide it by 2, right? All in all, what I am doing is mapping the values in between 1 to 21 to the values in between 1 to 10. So this clearly indicates that this mapping can be achieved by dividing each value in the frequency column simply by 2, right? So 11, if I divide by 2, I'll be getting 5.5, but I want it to be quotient to be integer. So what I get, 5.5 integerized to 5, right? So I have indexified the frequency, right, between 1 to 10, right? Understood? So lesser the frequency means frequency index, it will mean that that particular customer had purchased lesser number of times. His buying behavior is not inspiring him to purchase more. He is not a frequent buyer. Whereas wherever you see the frequency higher, like here it is 6, so he is moderately frequent buyer. If it is 10, he is a frequent buyer. So the strategies can be applied according to his buying behavior. Okay, the less frequent buyer is to be forced more. It will require more efforts to get him to the store for buying. and the frequent buyer will need lesser efforts to get him to the store. Now, the third important criteria is not the criteria, driver for making someone to purchase is monetary value. Okay. Mm, Based on his buying behavior, we have collected here the monetary value. In each of the transaction, we are finding the monetary value from the invoices we have collected, right? For Clary, 993.9 is his invoice. For another customer, Darren Hub, 37.6, and so on. You will be getting the monetary value in each of the transaction. Okay. So we are interested in indexifying the monetary value. Okay, because here you see the minimum money involved, minimum spending done by any of the customers in this transaction is 1.96. This we have found out by finding the minimum in this column AI. How do we do that? By using a formula, minimum in bracket AI colon AI. So I get 1.96, and maximum in the similar way, like you see here, maximum AI 2 to AI 2588. Okay, there are 25 uh, 20 2588 rows. So I have got minimum that is coming out to be 18,344.05. So again, we will be dividing this range into 10 equal parts. So how do we do that? The 18,344.05 minus 1.96, this difference we will be dividing into 10 parts. So each part is going to be approximately of length 1080, 1834 or 833, right? So 1.96 to 1833 will be to this range will be giving the index of 0. If the purchase value is 1000, it lies between 0 to 1008, 834, will be giving it an index 0. Just for making you understand, I am giving the index values in this column 0 to 9. In another column, I have given it 1 to 10. You can have the mix of indices, right? Like for recency, our index values range from 1 to 10. In this frequency, the index values range from 1 to 10. Here also they could have range from 1 to 10. It is your choice, but just to make you know that you can give the indices between 0 to 9 as well, right? So I have given the range like 0 to 9, 0 to 9. So what we will be doing here, this value we will be dividing by 1833, right? So 993.9 divided by 1833 is going to give you 0 point something. I am removing the fractional part, and integer part comes out to be 0. Lesser the monetary value, lesser should be the index. So simply by dividing this value by the range, by the length of this span, I will be getting some quotient, and that quotient I will be integerizing, that will give me the index. So I have got the recency index, frequency index, and the monetary value index, right? Those are scaled between 1 to 10 or 0 to 9. So this information of the customer recency index, frequency index, and monetary index, I'll be copying and taking to another sheet. Okay, customer. First of all, I'll be exploding it completely. I have applied filter. That's why you are seeing it's so small. I'll be removing all the filters, right? To get you everything in front of you, I'll be applying the filters. All right. So how to apply filters? Go home, like go home. This is the data which I have copied. Then I'll be selecting home menu item, and after going here, I'll be selecting filter. Filter gets applied. No, for that I'll have to select the columns to which I have to apply filter. Again, go home, select sort and filter menu item, and then select filter. Filter is applied, right? That now I am going to select the customers who have recently done the purchase from our store, right? And I will be motivating the customers who have recently purchased. That means their recency index is higher. Higher means I'll be taking the considering the recency index 8, 9, 10. That is your discretion to select the recency index from. You may take 7, 8, 9, 10, or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or simply 9, 10, or 10. Okay, that's your discretion. That is your managerial decision, right? So my list has lesser number of customers now, so I can go in for a targeted campaign, targeted advertisement, targeted discount, etc., etc. Whatever strategies you think of are proper for attracting the customers who have recently bought. Okay, and for buying in the last month or so, whatever threshold you think of, you can advertise that those who have bought something within the last month or whatever period you think of will get the another items. There will be significant discount on the items and gets all such recent buyers back again to the stores for increasing the footfalls in the store, right? Then, mm, based upon the frequency, you can have another targeted campaign. You will be getting the specific customers to target. Okay, so once again, I remove the filter which I applied based on recency. I will be applying the filter on frequency column. Okay, frequent buyers for our store, loyal buyers for our stores, I will be again running the targeted campaign for them. The customers are here to which I can set the advertisement on their social media platform, social media like uh, their Facebook account or so, their mail, etc., etc. Specific targeted advertisement and will get the customer once again back to our store, right? Then for attracting the customers who spend more money in buying, though they may come less number of time, but whenever they come to the store they buy, they spend more money in purchasing. So once again I'll be selecting the customers who spend more money in buying. Okay, so I'll be applying now the filter on monetary value. Okay, maybe 5, 6, 10. Okay, I will be deciding the threshold to consider for targeted advertisement. So I am considering monetary value index greater than 5. That is once again your decision. Okay, so I have this many customers. I can send them the mail or on their various social media account, targeted advertisement. I can advertise the discount the on various slabs of monetary value of their purchase, the different discounts I can provide. So there are various strategies you have learned in your marketing management. Mm, So that's how I can segment the market, or I can segment the customer based on the recency of their purchase, frequency of their purchase, and the monetary spending in their purchase individually, right? I can consider two or more parameters simultaneously and advertise accordingly. Like once again, I'll be removing the filter, all right, which I applied lastly on monetary value. Okay, now I'll be applying the filter on recency and frequency. I can apply it on recency monetary value, or I can apply it on frequency monetary value, or I can apply it on all the three. Okay, just look at one example. I'll be applying the filter on recency and frequency. All right, recency value I'll be considering the index 8, 9, 10. Okay, and those who have purchased recently, I will be interested in the customers who buy frequently. Okay, so I'll be considering the frequency index. Okay, just a minute. Frequency index, last two frequency indices, 8 and 10. You may consider 7 as well. Okay. So these are the customers. So you can again target the customers from amongst the frequently buying customers and who have recently bought something from your store. Okay, you can advertise that, you can remind them of their recent purchase amongst their frequent purchases over a period of year. And if you buy in another coming 15 days, then they will be getting this discount, or they will be getting some gift or something like that. Okay, you can join the monetary value indices, like, here you are finding that the customers who are frequently purchasing and those who have recently purchased are not having, are not spending much in their purchase, so maximum spending index is of 4 out of 10, right? So but still you may just target, if you if the population is too large, then you may include the monetary value index of 4. Okay, like that. Here these three names should have, the three names should have been only one. It may be my mistake, because of which these records have not been deleted. I wanted the unique name for these customers, right? Edward Hook should have appeared just once, but maybe some mistake is there. You can correct when you will be working on this. Okay. So the whole purpose of RFM analysis is to find out the customers in terms of the indices we have recently purchased, recency of their purchase. You can find out frequency. You can segment the customers with their frequency of purchase. You can segment the customers with their index of monetary value, and you can club them together or individually. You can apply the marketing strategy to get the customer to the store. Hope you have understood the spirit of RFM analysis. You can enhance this spirit to make you understand the things even better, right? So going back to the customer segmentation, um, considering RFM, I hope you have understood it enough, right? Then we now will be seeing supply chain analytics. There are many analytical things in supply chain, like uh, supply chain basically deals with how many units of the particular product are to be transported from which particular source to which particular destination at which particular time, so that the total cost of transportation over the period from all the sources to all the destinations um, comes out to be minimum. This is the important part of supply chain. Another thing is inventory is also the issue in supply chain. There are many other analytical issues in supply chain analytics. We will be just considering one to make you pro in supply chain analytics. After going through one analytical tool in supply chain analytics, you may get motivated to look various other tools, various other issues in supply chain, which will be requiring analytical treatment. So one very important thing is inventory. When to buy, how much to buy, right? Suppose say I buy small quantity, I will have to mm, make frequent orders, so many orders over a year. And if I order large quantity, then the number of orders will be less, but that large quantity will require more holding cost. Holding cost means my money will be blocked. Then the I will have to take specific precaution to preserve the ordered material, received material. Right, it will require space as well. So various resources of the organization will get blocked. Right, space, money, then preservatives will get blocked. So if you buy more per order, then holding cost will be more. As the number of orders are less, ordering cost will be less. Okay, but if you buy less per order, number of orders will be more, therefore ordering cost will be high, and you will be spending lesser on holding cost because less money is blocked. less space will be blocked, less preservatives, etc. Preservation efforts required will be less. Okay, so there is some quantity which we call as economic order quantity, which is not more, which is not less. Okay, the total cost of holding the inventory for the year is going to be less with that, less or minimum with that economic order quantity, right? Economic order quantity is the quantity which is to be ordered per order, so that the total cost, which comprise of ordering cost and holding cost, is minimum. Okay, so after undergoing some mathematical treatment for the statement of economic order quantity, we get economic order quantity as the square root of twice ds by h, where D stands for annual demand or demand for a particular period, S is ordering cost, and H is holding cost per unit per year. Okay, because H is holding cost per unit per year, every other thing should also be in terms of per year, right? So every time you will be, whenever you will be ordering, you better order the quantity around this economic order quantity. So this, to understand economic order quantity, let's go through numerical. The annual demand for certain product is 10,000 unit. Ordering cost, which this figure is available with the accounts department or the industrial engineering department. Ordering cost comes out to be 100 rupees. Holding cost, say, is rupees 5 per unit per year, right? Putting these values in the formula of EOQ, it is 2 into 10,000 into 100 divided by 5, square root of whole this thing, square root of 400,000 comes out to be 632 units. What does that mean? Whenever you will be ordering, you will be ordering 632 units. So if you do that, in here you know that you will be requiring 10,000 units. So how many orders you will have to make in a year if the consumption is in proper pattern? 10,000 divided by 632, which comes around something like 15 or 16, 15 point something, right? Around 15 orders, 15 plus orders you will have to make. Suppose, say, you would have ordered 10 in one order. Every time you order, if you decide to order only 10 units, the number of orders you will have to make will be how many? 10,000 divided by 10. 1,000 orders you will have to make, and the ordering cost is going to be 100 into 1,000, that is 100,000. Okay, too much. Okay, whereas if we order 632 units, so the number of order is going to be 15. Okay, and cost per order is 100. So 1500 will be spent in ordering cost, right? Holding cost is going to be moderate, and holding cost is going to be 632 into 5. Okay, this total of the cost is going to be minimum. If you order any other quantity, the total cost is going to be more than this one, right? Then one of another important decision which is to be taken as far as the inventory is concerned is when to order. That is called a reorder point. Okay, whenever you order something, you do not get the material immediately after ordering. It takes little time to get you the material ordered. That time is called as lead time. So during this time, your material gets consumed, and suppose, say, that consumption is more, then you to take care of the material which has vanished. Now that material is not there within your stock, so your production may get halted. So to avoid any such situation, you keep some stock that is called as a safety stock. Safety stock is the stock kept to take care of the demand above average during lead time. Okay, so soon your material which is there with you from where you were issuing or consuming the material is finished, then you will be using the material which exists in the safety stock. So reorder point is the sum of lead time demand plus safety stock. Okay, so you should do the order after this much period. There is a lot of analytics even in inventory section, but this is just to get you started in inventory, right? There are many other areas wherein analytics is required in supply chain. Okay, so we'll be stopping here as far as supply chain analytics is concerned. In this lecture, we have seen supply chain analytics, RFM analytics. RFM analytics, I will once again remind you, is used for customer segmentation, considering their recency, frequency, and monetary value of their purchase. Okay, it more concerns to their buying behavior. All right, so we'll be stopping here. Thank you.